Hello lovely people, welcome back to my channel. Hope you are all well. We're back with another theatre reviewy chatty video thing that I like to do on this channel. I did say I was going to be pretty busy in the month of August and it's definitely been the case. I have my glasses on today, one because my eyes are tired and two because it hides the bags under them. The bags are real. But in all seriousness, I'm here to talk about another show. This time we're talking about the accidental death of an anarchist. There is no the accidental death of an anarchist, which is currently playing at the Theatre Royal Haymarket until the 9th of September. So if you want to know my thoughts and my feelings and everything in between about the show, stick around and we'll get into it in 2 whole seconds. So yeah, here we are talking about a play. I don't go to many plays on this channel alone. I think all of my reviews so far have pretty much been musicals. I think. I can't remember when I set this channel up. There may be like 1, maybe 2 play reviews, if that. I'm very much more of a musical goer. But the word of mouth and the hype around this show made me desperate to go and see it. Plus, Todaytix have some incredible offers for this show. When I bought and paid for my ticket and went to see the show, which by the time you're watching this really wasn't a long time ago. I saw the show on the 23rd of August and I believe this video is going up the Saturday afterwards, the Sunday afterwards should I say. I literally was towards the back of the stalls in row S for £15. That is £15. You can't get many theatre tickets in London for that price, and boy oh boy was it worth it. So if you don't know anything about the show like I did going in, let's get into it. Accidental Death of an Anarchist was written 50 whole years ago by a writing duo of Dario Fo and Franca Rame. I don't know Italian. I truly hope that I'm like butchering someone's name. It isn't my forte. So this show, which was originally written 50 years ago by 2 Italian men, has been recently brought up to date by Tom Basden. This show's story truly mixes humour and slapstick and silliness with some very deep and very up-to-date references and information about a very under talked about topic. So the show itself centres around one room pretty much in a police station in London, in which the lead character, who's purely known as the maniac, makes a collection of police employees from a superintendent, a detective, a constable and another detective, recreate a story, a true story of what happened to one individual in police custody and how that individual was driven to jump / be pushed out of a window in the 4th floor, therefore killing himself, and how that incident came to happen, so to speak. The reconstruction, however, becomes more and more outrageous and just completely insane, with the help of the maniac, who kind of helps to retell the story in a way that it's not seen to be the police's fault in a way. It's really hard to explain, but if you watch it, it just makes total sense. But the way that it is made to make sense to the police through their own reconstruction, which is led by the maniac, just shows how corrupt the whole situation is and how everything can be twisted in such a way that it just takes the blame away from the people that it needs to have the blame taken away from. By the end of the show, through a variety of costumes and sound effects and just everything that comes from one bag of the maniacs, the maniac literally has both everyone on stage but also everyone in the audience in the palm of their hands. The show is so creative. It has been directed by Daniel Raggett and it's just so crazy but hilarious, but just so clever at the same time. I also really enjoyed the set design, which seems simple, and I will try and leave like a picture to the side of me whilst I speak, but it was so simple and kind of stationary in that it all happens in this one room. But in that one room there is a multitude of things that happen and multitude of surfaces that get drawn on, and it's just so cleverly designed. I also truly enjoy one moment that happens quite early on in Act 1, in which, because the whole show starts on floor 3 and we end up on floor 4, and the way that that is done, just, it tickled me. I really enjoyed that. I don't know if I mentioned it, but the set was designed by Anna Reid, and I just really enjoyed the whole element of that set in situ in the theatre. It was just really clever. What I also enjoyed about this show was that the cast was so small and like tight knit. It is a cast of 7, and each member of the cast just has everything so like on point that everything that needs to be hit is hit. Every moment that needs to be like punched is punched. Punched probably shouldn't be the word that I should use, but it makes sense. Everything that needs to be bammed is bammed. Central to the show is that character of the maniac, who has been expertly portrayed by the actor Daniel Rigby, who literally plays the audience like a fiddle from the moment he enters the room to the end of the show. Just he was so fantastic and amazing to watch. Breaks the fourth wall a multitude of times. It was incredible to watch and just amazing to sit and see someone do something so well. Playing the superintendent of this whole station is Tony Gardner, who, if you are someone of my age, you will recognise him as the father from My Parents Are Aliens. Even now, I was just like, he could turn into something at any moment. But in all seriousness, even, Tony plays the superintendent, who is not there during the incident, according to the second statement that the maniac is reading his way through. And his character bounces brilliantly off the maniac character, but also alongside, but also against the detective Daisy, who's played by Tom Andrews, who also allegedly wasn't there at the scene of the crime but was. the whole play just is so cleverly done, and just kind of, I'm never going to put it into words properly how excellent this show is. The fact that the kind of powers that be in the police are molded and structured in such a way that they can kind of take themselves out of something to take the blame away from themselves. And I also really enjoyed how they kind of made the constable, whose name was Joseph, and who was played by Ro Kumar, how often the role of the constable was kind of used as the scapegoat or the butt of jokes and moments. I just really enjoyed how that was done. Rounding off the cast, we have Mark Hadfield, who played Inspector Burton, who is the person who initially sends off the maniac for wasting time. He wants to get him out of his hair, and becomes, in Act 1, kind of the butt of a very painful joke, and then in Act 2 kind of becomes a voice of reason for a short while, who kind of highlights, hang on, this guy, the maniac, is not who you think he is, but also towards the very end is kind of put back into the fold of the roles of the police, who are truly there kind of protecting their own backs. I'm trying not to like ruin portions of the plot, in case you want to watch it for yourself, because I feel like if you know too much going in, it may take away from certain elements of the plot. So I'm trying to keep it vague, but also explain why I enjoyed elements of certain characters' roles. Finishing off with my final cast mention and the final member of the final member of the cast, we have the person who plays, for a brief moment in the first half, PC, I didn't write this one down, I should have, PC Jackson, who literally gets one line and I think it's fuck off, and then in the second act plays another role called Fee Phelan, and that is the person who in our performance was the understudy Georgina Hellier, who plays Fee, who is a woke journalist who comes into the room at the height of its madness, almost height, because the height of the madness comes about 10 minutes after she enters the room. It's quite amusing that the journalist is used as a kind of character to invoke like inquisitiveness, and basically what a paper journalist for, say, like the Sun or the Mail, or you know, that kind of well educated upper class thinkers kind of world, who are trying to get the truth but also sell a story, and how the character of Fee Phelan is almost used as almost like the voice of reason, but ironically the actual truth and like main voice of reason for the whole show is the maniac himself. This show is just very, very clever in what it does, how it's took a story that was written 50 odd years ago by two Italian men, actually based on almost true facts of a crime that was committed or of an event that was created or happened in Italy at that time, and how it's been used in this like more modern day, up-to-date sense through this play in this time period, and nothing has really changed, is absolutely mad to me. It's crazy. I think that's what the main point of this show is, and that's just very clever. One thing to quickly mention before we close this video, apart from get your ticket, this show closes on the 9th of September and it's a hoot. One thing to mention is to do with the please note section on TodayTix when you buy your tickets, and also I believe it was in theatre. Don't quote me on that. I should really go and check my footage, because I do like to film little TikToks. TikTok is always linked down below in case you're interested, but I like to do little TikToks in my trips. But the please note on the TodayTix says this performance features smoke, haze, strobe lighting, flash blinder lights, loud music and very loud sudden sound effects. This production may contain themes and references that some audience members find upsetting and unsettling. I just wanted to quickly mention the first part of that please note, which is about the bright lights and such. Most of the bright lights and flash strobe lights and the flash, most of these effects happen at the start of Act 2. I'm not going to explain why it happens. It's an odd choice to start Act 2 off, but I suppose it just brings you back into the craziness of this whole play. But yeah, that is something to be aware of, and it is very, very stroby. It is very like flashy, so please be aware of that fact. Now we get on to the bit that I was most nervous about, and that is the very loud sudden sound effects. If you have never watched my videos before, you might not be aware of this fact, but I am quite sensitive to a loud noise. I think we all are, but I will jump at the smallest of noises. If I see that in like trigger warnings that it contains gunshots, I will be like this as soon as I see any sign of a gun being brought out. The very sudden loud sound effect, you can guess when you're watching that it is coming. It happened just towards the end of Act 2. So basically any loud noises and flashing lights, Act 2 may not be your friend, but you can kind of work out when it's going to happen. There is a little bit of build up to that effect. I did get my hands to my ears in time, and it was still pretty loud. The Theatral Haymarket is not a massive theatre, it's quite an enclosed space, and it did reverberate off all the walls, and I felt it in my seat. So yes, I 100% agree that that happens. It's over pretty suddenly, and once the lights come back on, because it does cause a blackout moment, then you are pretty much okay after that. But just wanted to put that out there because I am aware other people can be quite sensitive to this kind of thing. So it's always good to be prepared. I do enjoy a theatre or a note like that on a website which does let you know about that kind of situation, so that I am slightly prepared. Unlike when I went to watch Guys and Dolls, and the announcement before the show even started was the thing that made me jump. And someone was there watching me. I literally come out of the bathroom and the announcement that the doors were opening went off, and I jumped in the air, much to the amusement of that person. That is enough of me rambling on about this show. I'm going to shut myself up because I have got the sorest of throats today, and talking like this has been not the best. Post London come down, they're fun, aren't they? Anyway, I'm going to leave this video here, so thank you very much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Please go and get yourself a ticket for the show before it closes on the 9th. And yeah, I love you all lots. I hope you come back next time for whatever comes out next, and I hope to see you soon. Bye everyone. I forgot to do 2 hands.